I am so excited to be back with you guys. Real Talk with Reese is back. Y'all miss me? I missed you. So I am so excited not only to be back with UGD and the whole family, which I ran into last night, which is crazy. That's how energy works. Like the producer and one of the other co-hosts, Kat, we went to see Simone Samore last night at the Improv. And I turned around and me and James were talking. We've been talking for a couple of days, just business wise. I turned around and he's sitting behind me. I'm like, hey, James, like this. So we literally talk. And that's when you know you're really busy as an entrepreneur, when you talk to somebody, but you don't mention everything you have going on. And literally, we had just talked, and we were sitting right here. Neither one of us mentioned we wanted to come to the show, so that was funny. But anyway, some more was really good. Give a shout out to her. Guys, I have a phenomenal guest today. I can't wait to just jump in and dive in with all the phenomenal things she does and why I feel she's phenomenal. You'll see in a minute. But I want to talk to you first, do my real talk with Reese segment. I am going to be focusing, guys and gals. I got to stop saying guys, right? But that's just um, I'm going to be focusing from now until the end of the year on love and life. You all know what I have been going through with grief and how real that's been for me. And I've had so many messages like, I miss your light, I miss your light, I miss your. My light is still there, you guys. It's just dim. It's just up and down sometimes, and it's dim, but it's all part of my purpose. And one of the things that I've always talked to you about is that everything happens for your good. I don't care if it's good or bad. I'm literally a living testimony. So sometimes when you live in your purpose and your purpose driven, you have to be ready to actually live in the purpose. And apparently, God has given me this purpose. The universe has given me this purpose to help people get through grief and just times. I've always been not a life coach, but a purpose coach. You guys know that. And my clients know that. And I'm constantly helping people get to the other side of their darkness and bring their light back. And then guess what? Now I've had a time where this has been the darkest, saddest thing I've ever experienced. Like, I've been able to fight through so much, to fight through a divorce, fight through losing my job a year and a half away from retirement at 23 years. How does that happen? Fight through just life, right? And I get through it like a champ. Every time I'm like, I must be built for this because I get through it no matter what. I've smiled through the hardest times of my life. And finally, I met my match. I met my match with grief. And, but I see the light. And I know that it was given to me. I know that that was given to me because of the way that I am handling it. I know a lot of people that are in it. I know people that I've talked to recently that have been in their grief situation with losing a child. I'm just going to talk about that because that's all I know. Um, that have been stuck for 10 years, that have been stuck for 5, 6 years, and I'm literally, it's been 10 months, 10 months this month, 10 months last week for me. And that's literally like nothing, and I'm able to push through it. And what I did realize is that there's a light after loss, which will be my new focus and topics. I'm going to teach people on how to get through the light after loss. So there is a light after loss. There's really a light after loss. And I know people look at me, they're like, how do you say that when you're so sad? And if you saw my video last week, I even said with those tears in that video, I knew I was going to win. I know that there's so much beauty in this pain, right? And it's the purpose. And one of the things that I want to tell you guys before we tap into my guest that I've realized is that we literally are focusing. We think we're here to make money. We think that we're on this earth, we make money, we're chasing money, 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 money. That's all everybody thinks about is money, money. And I've actually been there too. But because of my life path these last couple of years and where I'm at right now, the reason why so many people are stuck is because we're not supposed to chase money. Do we all want it? I do, because I like to find things I like. I want to get up every day and be like, you know what? I'm going to Miami today. I'm going to Dubai. And I do plan on living that life. And I kind of live it now a little bit. Um, the key to true wealth is living in your purpose. If you live in your purpose, you will have so much wealth you won't know what to do. And that's something that we have to stop blocking. I think we block our blessings because we're chasing money. If you chase your purpose, if you think about all the wealthy people, the super wealthy people, they're living in a purpose. If you think about the Tyler Perrys and the Oprahs and just so many people, think about where their wealth came from. And they're living their dreams. Chase your dreams, don't chase the money, and you'll have everything you want. So that's what I just want to give you. That was what came in my spirit this morning. But I want to talk to you today about my phenomenal guest. I have the one and only, not only she's beautiful, you're so cute. Oh, she's so cute. It's the Dr. Bridget Cole Williams is in the building at Real Talk with Reese today. She is amazing. I've had the honor of being able to connect with her over the years and just really see her genuine quality of wanting to help the community and really having a talent to being able to tap into your mental and physical health, but also be a genuine person. Because a lot of people kind of that are physicians that I run into kind of just give you the physician's talk. One of the things I love about Dr. Bridget is that she's so genuine. And so, welcome to Real Talk to Reese.
Thank you so much. It's great to see you again.
Thank you. So, can you tell us a little bit? You do so many things. I know that you are now the medical director of Alliance Healthcare, correct?
Yeah, Care Alliance, which is honestly probably 5 minutes down the road from here.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we have a couple different locations, and they brought me on as their medical director in February.
Awesome. That is major.
It's wonderful.
Congratulations. You also are the owner of Blossom Bar?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
That's phenomenal too. Yeah. So you have a lot going on. Tell me about if somebody asks you like, who is Dr. Bridget? How would you describe like who you are and what is your kind of like your path or purpose that you feel like why Dr. Bridget is here?
You know, I love the fact that you say that, and I love how you open the show talking about purpose, because that is something that we always need to reconsider, look at again. It's not like you find the purpose and then you go with it,
Mhm.
but you always have to keep redefining yourself, and that's how you get off track when you think it's one thing. And so my first thought when you said, how would I describe Dr. Britt? Tired. Tired. All right. But finding my purpose and driven, and what one thought is that, I spent the last 8+ years in the cannabis space. And it's still a part of the work that I do, but I've realized that I'm not as much a cannabis advocate as I am a patient advocate. And that was another step in me finding my purpose.
Okay.
Because as much as I think it's important medicinally, as much as I think it's important socially, that people, alcohol is so pushed in our culture that people need another option that is safe. But I've realized that whether it was cannabis or having access to quality care or what have you, at the end of the day, I'm a patient advocate, and cannabis is one of those options, but it's really finding ways that patients of every walk of life can have quality care. And that's really another step of my purpose.
Wow, that's big, and I think that's what we need. That you're actually focusing on the patients,
Yes.
because we're all individuals. We're different. Every one of us have a different story, different needs, and it's important because right now, excuse me, guys, I have this little cough I'm working on. What I see in the medical industry is that you kind of feel like a number when you walk in.
Yes.
You walk in, okay, what's going on? Okay, check the box. Did you do this? And what I like about you is you try to get to know the patient.
Yes.
Because I think when you actually have a conversation with someone, you probably can hear things that will trigger you, to know how to take how to care for that patient.
Well, I think there was a time when there was less pressure. We knew less, so we could only do so much, right? And there was a time that not only did doctors know their patients well, but patients knew their doctors well. And I think that was a better time in medicine because now we're collaborating together for a greater purpose, right? That we're working towards your wellness. And when things became algorithms and numbers is when we started to lose quality of care.
That makes so much sense.
You know, so you have to walk that walk with your patient. And when we were in smaller communities or smaller health systems, the doctor was known in the community. They were probably the doctor. They might have also been involved in politics. They might have been involved with their church. They were a part of a community that served those people. Now we're so far away from that, I don't think we can provide quality care. And so part of me going from probably 80% cannabis and 20% regular medicine to now I'm probably 90% regular medicine and 10% cannabis
Wow.
is because I felt like I went from, doing the books and the talks and I realized I was preaching to the choir. If everybody in the room agrees with you, you're probably not doing the work you should do,
That's good.
right?
Yes.
And so I realized it was time for me to take my experiences, spend more time, and be an influence to other providers so that they had a better understanding of not just cannabis, but what patients were looking for, what their needs were, and to stop them from burning out. Because the problem is that we're pushing so hard in medicine that we lose quality providers because we're on 10-minute visits. We're expected to do 100 things in 10 minutes. How can that be quality care? So I've come back to challenge the system as always. I think I've always been a little bit of a rebel. And I feel like Caroline's wants that, which is a blessing.
So I would love to hear that. I was going to ask you about what is the difference being at Care Alliance? What being there, what is?
It is, first of all, it's a blessing every day because to be in a majority Black health system, highly professional, qualified, you walk in, it is business and it is family and it is care all at the same time. To be able to feel comfortable in your own skin, you've worked in corporate.
I'm over it.
To be yourself.
Yeah.
And to help other people, that's a blessing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
See, and I'm one of those people. I was talking to a gentleman. I knew has a transportation business on the side, and I had a gentleman I was transporting, and he was in the car, and he was like, "The world is crazy. We're falling apart, and the energy is bad." And I said, "Well, that's not true. You have to focus on you. Like he's focusing on the Trump and the world, and there's so much going on. You can get caught up in that. Really, just focusing on you and your personal mental health and what you can bring to the world. I think we have more people not saying that the world is crazy and actually focusing on what they're supposed to be doing here. It'll be better. And I definitely feel like we need more healthcare people in the industry that look like us,
1,000.
like so that they can understand what we go through. Because I hear a lot, and I think you could probably touch on that, especially like women in childbirth giving birth, that we have a significant higher rate of dying in childbirth. I can't even think right now, having birth, and than any other culture.
Right.
And it's because they don't understand some of our issues that we have. But I've heard that if you had I know Dr. Jackie in Atlanta, she's a big advocate, and I know that she worked with our vice president, former vice president, and she on trying to change those things because we have a lot of things that are in our DNA that people don't see the
Absolutely.
other areas.
So the maternity death rate is
Yes,
significantly high across the country for Black women, right? And we are starting to focus on it more, but even going back to what you're saying about the driver, the world has always been crazy.
Mhm.
So, I mean, yes, this is a interesting chapter that we are in right now,
Yes,
but the world is always, and it's always been crazy, particularly for us.
yes.
Okay. And so we have to not focus on the craziness, which is what they want us to do,
Mhm.
be distracted. But we need to take that energy and do even more within our own community. We have to protect as well as prepare our young people, right? We have to focus on our mental health. If you know too much about what's going on with this, maybe we're watching a little bit too much of the TV.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, yes.
But we need to put more energy. Reason why a show like yours is important because it allows us to focus within our own community. And that is significant because they want us distracted and um, they want our morale to be low, right? We need to, no, don't give that to them. We have to pump ourselves up and put more energy into our community.
Exactly. One of the things that you said need to help build up our youth is kind of put more confidence, more knowledge into or wisdom into our youth, other than what the TV is doing and the internet. I tell my daughters all the time, you are responsible for your emotions. You are responsible for your feelings and how you feel. A lot of times people just, they get upset and I'm like, you have to breathe, calm down. I think breathing is a big,
Mm-hmm.
beautiful meditation technique. But stop, breathe, and listen and understand I'm responsible for how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
And if I don't feel good, how do I find a way to feel better? And it's up to me to say, this isn't going right. I don't feel like my mental health is going in the right direction. But also, one of the biggest things is where do we go? And so, does the Alliance help with the mental health? Is
Yeah,
it a
so we
big-
have a wonderful behavioral health department
Okay.
where we have providers there that will walk you through whatever you're going through. You know, I often say if it is keeping you up at night, what we do is to help you put that to bed, okay? So that we can move beyond. You know, we typically don't spend enough time focusing on mental health because we're always tackling other issues. But it does not matter if you have taken all complete care of your body and your wellness. If your mental health is not right, what does it even matter?
Because of-
You see what I'm saying? So yes, we have a great department, we have a great support in that aspect. And so, you know, we work with people every day to try to make sure that we're addressing that. This is June, so it is Men's Health Awareness Month. And so we're doing a huge event, I believe, on the 28th down at Tower City.
Awesome.
And including mental health in that as well, because we have to protect and help our Black men. Because if anyone is not talking about it, it's them.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of pressure on people.
It is.
It's just, yeah, in general. Um, which is, I gotta throw this in there, segue, because this is a big thing too. I had someone tell me the other day, Happy Father's Day, and I looked at her and I said, I'm not a father. She's like, you're a single parent. I said, I don't get into all that. I am a mother, and I think we in our culture, I just had to throw this out there before I forget. I think we gotta stop doing that. We as women, we don't have to take on a masculine role. We just need to do our role.
Yeah.
And everything will be okay. So we gotta stop saying Happy Father's Day. I think we've all got caught up in that. If you are a mother, you are a mother. You are not a father, you are a mother. And we have a lot of awesome Black men. We have a lot of men out here. But they have a lot on them and a lot of pressure to always just try to be so masculine all the time, which doesn't allow them to utilize and express their emotions. And I can say that with my son, he was 31 before he passed. He had so much pressure on him to try to be this perfect father and be so masculine. And often he would have vulnerable moments. And anytime he had a vulnerable moment with me, he felt better when he would release that with me as his mother. And then he wasn't afraid. He was a big advocate for health, for mental health, because he experienced some mental health issues. And I think that most of those issues became from an overwhelming stress that just turned into something else. And do you see that stress in our community can actually spill over to physical issues?
1000%. We work with a lot of patients that are former prisoners. I'm seeing men every day that have been out between a couple of days to, even a couple of years, and trying to tap into how are you doing. It takes time to peel away those layers because men have been taught to protect themselves and to not show emotion and to not be vulnerable. You can't necessarily expect them to just spill out all of these emotions. They need to learn how to feel, unfortunately. And that does come from being, a supportive parent or what have you. But society, no matter how well you've done as a parent, society clams them back up, right? And so for a lot of these men, it takes time and trust to be able to really express how they're feeling. And I hope that I do my part in that and work with organizations to try to support them and give them the space and the time to be able to get there. But it's really important that we choose to be a safe place.
That's good.
And that means you got to take whatever comes with that, right? That means you have to be willing to sit in a space that can be uncomfortable because they're trying to learn to be vulnerable. So everything's not going to be happy-go-lucky, but choose to be a safe place.
That's big. That's big. That's big. So you were talking about bridging the gap between holistic care and traditional care. What are some of the things that we can do at home? Some of the things that we could do to help with the stress level, because that's one of the biggest things that when I had people DMing me and send me messages about today's show, I'll say 80% of the questions that people were having is, can you ask about how do we get, what small things or what things they can do at home or things that they can take, like just to go into like a GNC or a different health store that can help them with daily stress.
Absolutely. So I think part of it is that if you think you are open to more holistic care and the only thing that you're looking at is cannabis, you are not into holistic care. Okay, you are into cannabis. Like, let's make okay.
No, that's good. I'm glad you said that.
Okay, because if that's the only thing you're looking at, then don't lie to yourself. Okay. What I really encourage people to do, first of all, just on the cannabis side, learn what it's really about. Learn about the different cannabinoids. Learn about the terpenes that really make a difference in how you actually feel. The terpenes are the essential oils of the plant that have different medicinal qualities, and those terpenes are found in other plants. You can get, let's say, a lemon oil that elevates mood. Well, that limonene oil is also in cannabis. But if the only thing you're looking at is cannabis, like I have diffuser in my home because I realize I like that elevated feeling. So I have like a lemon diffuser, you know?
Okay.
So it's not, so you can find ways of what are you looking for in the plant. I often tell patients to go to leafly.com, which will, you can put in your favorite strain, and it's strain, it's not strand. Okay, I just gotta, because that gets on my nerves a little.
Right.
It is strain, like strain of hair, well, not like a strand of hair, but a strain is the cannabis flower, whichever strain that you prefer. And then learn what the main terpenes are and what they do. And then find other ways to incorporate that into your food. Incorporate it, like I said, I use a diffuser. It's a way of really being more plant focused. Now, beyond that, what we do with the Blossom Bar is that we incorporate nutraceuticals. Nutraceuticals are other compounds, other plants that can either help with cognitive or with stress relieving aspects. So, number one, right off the bat, I love ashwagandha.
Ashwagandha. Okay.
It does a lot for stress. It can help with sleep. It can help with, sexual issues. It kind of covers things in a kind of a wide net.
Okay.
But we use ashwagandha in a lot of our drinks because our drinks are not necessarily just for people that want CBD and THC and some other parts of cannabis plant. Our drinks are for people that are looking for a more holistic way in engaging in a social situation, right? So I love ashwagandha for that. We look at things like ginkgo biloba, which can be stress relieving, ginseng, which can be elevating, lion's mane, which is great for like cognitive health, right?
I just got that. My mother was struggling really bad, and I think she's getting better. Um, but she was struggling with the grief so bad that, and I have this, and you guys are going to see this, so you guys bear with Real Talk with Reese. Bear with me. And I saw that in my mother. She has a very extensive vocabulary, and I thought one of the things that I learned from grief, and I did a lot of reading and research, is that you have a lot of brain fog. And I'm still, so I'm back, but a lot of things that I want to say is, and I'm like, those words, but they haven't come back yet. And one of the things that I was told to get to help with my memory and my brain and focus was lion's mane.
Absolutely.
So I had ordered to have some drops that I take, and I've been taking that every day, and I think it's been helping me a little bit.
So I think this isn't necessarily meaning that we don't use pharmaceuticals, okay? I'm not anti-pharmaceutical. What I am into is learning what the patient's needs are and meeting them where they are, right? And so if you're taking pharmaceuticals, it doesn't mean that you can't look at more holistic options. Or like I had a patient that their medication was giving them problems with their liver, right? And so they had to stop their medication. She had an aggressive form of rheumatoid arthritis, and she couldn't take the medication for a while. And she was like, "What do I use to replace, my pain?" And I was like, "Well, we could talk about that, but maybe what we should be doing is giving you nutraceuticals that can help heal your liver." So sometimes it's not about treating the symptoms. Sometimes we want to protect our body. We want what can help heal our body. And that will let the pharmaceutical do one thing, but we'll let the holistic medicines do another. So a way of protecting our body as well, right? So working with someone that can kind of help you work through some of this can be beneficial because to be honest, every time you turn on TikTok, there's something else new in that.
There's something.
TikTok shop is something else.
It's something else.
And it is
How can you keep up? Like it's a new vitamin and
something,
a new method every day. Like
absolutely. So you don't want to go down that rabbit hole because all you have to do is push one button and it shows up at your house, right?
Yeah.
And then was it even beneficial?
Right.
So doing some research on your own, because we do have that ability now. Like there's great information out there, but then also bring it up with your doctors so that they can work with you. So that they can also, we have resources sometimes that will tell you, will this nutraceutical interact with your pharmaceutical, okay? And is that going to be an issue? So you're going to want to do some of that work. But I highly recommend that we don't just look at wellness and healing from one perspective. There is something I think the patient is responsible for. It's working on keeping your body stress-free, working on your sleep, working on your spirit. I can't work on your spirit. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
But those are things that you can work on that will make the things that I do on my end work better.
Yes.
And so if the patient can do their work, I can do my work, and hopefully we meet in the middle.
That's awesome. Can we clone you? We need to clone. We need to clone Dr.
I think the first 2 months, look, I got plenty of jobs.
You got to believe for you. I know that's right. Oh, that's right. That is something. Again, that taps what she was saying. It taps back into being responsible for your own feelings, your own healing, and also spiritual is so important. How you feel matters. I think people get away from that. How you feel matters. If you wake up and you don't feel good, okay, how are you going to feel better? Sometimes you just need to go back to sleep. Sometimes I say, go back to sleep and see if you can wake up feeling a little better. One
Or
of
if
the
you're
things,
doing the same thing
Mhm.
over and over, if you're dealing with the same folks over and over and over again, insanity is expecting a different outcome. That's on you now.
It is.
And it's sometimes hard to break the cycle because you've been doing the same thing. You've been searching out the same type of people your whole life based on how you're nurtured. You've been doing the same thing for so long. Breaking out of that mold can be difficult, but it is, you have one life. Live, experience, do something different if you want a different outcome.
And I think what you just touched on is major. I had to do that, and it wasn't. It's not easy.
It's hard.
How to break away from people that you know are not good for your mental health. And that doesn't mean, I think people need to get away from going, oh, that means I'm being mean, or I think I'm better than them, or I don't, I should be able to deal with that. No, you are important. And everybody is not good for your mental health. Some people you can have to love from a distance. If you see that when you wake up in the morning, and I had this experience, and it was a really tough decision, but I had to look at why I feel like I'm having so much more stress or chaos in my life. And I thought about the phone calls that I would get from certain individuals every day. And I'm literally helping them start their day peacefully, getting the chaos out of their life constantly, constantly. And nothing to them. That's their issue.
Mhm.
It wasn't about that. But that it wasn't good
And
for
they weren't even
me.
paying you, were they?
No, they were not.
They were not.
They were not. And the ones that paid me, actually, this is something I learned. When people pay you, they actually listen to what you tell them to do because they're paying.
Because they're invested.
Yeah, they're invested. But you have those friends, family members, boyfriends, okay, girlfriends. You have to pay attention to your relationships. Sometimes that if you're constantly dreading picking up that phone and responding to that text, or they're draining your soul. It's just not for you. Allow them to go and be in the community they want to be in, the chaos. Because your well being matters. And it was really hard. But when I made those decisions, my life felt lighter.
You know, even if someone's cutting you off,
Mhm.
sometimes that's a blessing. Sometimes they're doing something for you that you couldn't do for yourself.
Yes.
And I have family members where I don't really interact with them that much.
Mhm.
And I'm like, why? We should, we could, because you have this idea in your head. And then one day I pulled back and I was like, how do I feel when I'm actually around them? I don't feel great. Maybe they're doing me, and it doesn't mean they're bad.
Mhm.
It doesn't mean you're bad. It just means that sometimes you need to protect your own peace.
Yes.
And it does not mean that you don't, like, I still interact with those family members, but I don't push and they don't push. We have what is safe for both of us.
Yes.
And that's okay. It doesn't have to be so entwined just because you're family.
Yeah. One of the easiest ways I tell my clients and tell my listeners and people, it's really kind of simple. If it doesn't feel good, it's not for you. It's really kind of that simple, although it's not that easy, right?
It's not that easy because we don't know what feel good is.
Yeah.
Okay? Because we often have, particularly as women, we're often taught, well, we really don't want to do this, but we still do because that's what we do. So when, and I've done coaching, for a while, and asking particularly women, what do you like? Is sometimes the hard, simple things they might be able, well, sometimes even that can be difficult. But I really understanding, what does your body feel like when you like something? What does your body feel like when you're gravitating? Sometimes people just don't even know what that is. And I spend more time going through exercises of foods and experiences and movie and really tuning into what does your body feel like when you are happy. Because some people, we're so disconnected from that sometimes.
Absolutely.
And if you can tune into what that feels like in your brain and in your body, then you can start saying, wait, when I'm in this situation, I am not happy. But it takes time to learn that.
Yeah. Which is meditation. One of the things meditation is not always the easiest thing to do, but I think people don't understand. Meditation is a form for you to listen. It's a practice. You're supposed to listen when you meditate.
Mhm.
When you're quiet, you get to listen to yourself. And that really helped me a lot. And I think it helps a lot of people. I don't know what are your take on meditation? But meditation sometimes for me, it's not just sitting. People think you got to go, you're sitting there, you're meditating. No, meditating is kind of just being quiet with yourself.
Allowing your brain to be quiet.
Yes, and just listen to your thoughts in your body. And I get up, and it's a suggestion, that may work for some other people. Walking is so beautiful.
Mhm.
Just getting up when you have like maybe feel like some anxiety or not feeling your best, and just get up and just take a walk with nature.
Mhm.
And just take a walk. It can be just as simple as
Be
that.
right outside your door.
Yes.
But just to be able to calm things down and be in your own body and be grounded.
Mhm.
Like I do a meditation before I start working because I'm thinking about, okay, this child here, that child there, wait, I have this patient and this is going to happen today and I'm on this time. And sometimes I need to quiet all that noise so I can be present for the next person that I'm seeing,
Yeah.
for the day that I'm about to start, for the people that I work with.
Yeah.
And many times we don't, and we're often inundated with so many reels and phone calls and TV and music that there's a constant noise going on, and we need to just calm that down sometimes and then just be present.
That's good. That's really good.
But in my, even with all of this, my work is that, I'm a family physician,
Mhm.
right? And so to be able to be back in that space, well, and I never stopped doing it, so I don't mean, but spending most of my time in that space now allows me to connect with other providers as well as patients in a new way because I've grown and I've learned so much. And I want to be able to connect with people to share that with them.
Because you saying you've grown, that's one of the things that we have to understand. That you want to always continue to grow.
Mm.
You don't want to not learn, think that you know it all, or you got 5 degrees. I know people are like, I'm studying, I've got 5 degrees, so I know this. You can have 10 degrees. I have multiple degrees, but I've learned a lot more just from life experience.
Mhm.
And I've realized that everything that happens to me is for me. Every experience that I've had that I thought was so major, once I come out of the shock of it all, or the pain, or the
Mhm.
whatever it is, I see I'm a different person. I become a different person, and it's all for my good. Everything is working out for your good. It really is. But I think
If
it's
you allow it.
yes, if you allow it, and a lot. I think it's really important. I know it's important that who you surround yourself with matters. It really does. You really have to focus on who you interact with, on a daily basis, or even not on a daily basis, but
Who has access to you? Who
yes,
has access? Because, I mean, the old statement, if you got two broke friends, you're about to have a third.
right.
Because you're gonna be
It's
that
gonna be you,
Right? If you got two stupid friends, guess who's gonna be? Because you become, I mean, think about even how our bodies work. Okay, we're moving beyond this point, but if you have 3 women or more together, your periods are gonna line up.
It happens. It's real.
It's a real thing,
That's what
okay? You end up taking in that other person's energy, even though I'm me, I don't have anything, no, we are so much more than what we understand.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. This is probably about something. Okay. So, growing up, my mother would always tell me she wasn't going to. I know what menopause. I heard the word menopause as a young kid.
Mhm.
She was never going to experience menopause. I'm not going through that. And, so many, but it's a struggle right now with so many women. They say perimenopause and all that. I don't know anything about menopause. Because in my mind, I'll tell you my experience. Because my mother said that, I put it in my brain as a young person. Me either. I'm never going through that. And honestly, at my age, I'm 50. I turned 50 in August. And all my friends, it seems like even my younger friends that are in their 40s, and then my friends that are in their 50s, when I say everybody except for me, really, seriously, in my circle, are having hot flashes, they're going through menopause. Most of them don't have a cycle. Like, but I'm full blown
Mm-mm.
cycle. I have not experienced any symptoms of menopause at all.
Okay, so wait. Number one, I said the same thing. I said, I am not doing this. There are some countries that don't even have a word, not there's menopause, but for like hot flashes and because of their diets or what have you, it doesn't even exist. So I started like looking into this because I saw what my mom. I was like, I mean, I choose not. I choose not. And I, like you, everybody around me started to have all these experiences, and I just wasn't having it, right? By the time I was 51, I started to experience. See, this is the one thing about, yeah, and I'm not trying to rain on nobody because I am. Look,
Because I believe I'm never doing that.
but let me say, I think still my experience was different
Okay,
because I still had that mindset.
okay.
And I think what people need to understand is that what I learned, and I knew it textbook, but when I experienced it, it's so much more than hot flashes. That's just what people talk about. It's what is visible. It is more there's something that is happening internally, whether it's mood, whether it's brain fog, whether it's you just don't care about things anymore. Do you see what I'm saying? Like it's more than just hot flash. So really, your experience, because you're going to cross from regular periods to not, regardless, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
But your experience might not be hot flashes, this, things that people talk about. But you ultimately will have some sort of transition. And what that transition is and how you experience, there is some control you have over it, and there's some control you don't have, right? Just genetically, whatever it may be. And so I think for me with patients, it's learning, okay, yeah, I get the hot flash thing, whether it's horrific or whether it's very mild. Mine were mild.
Okay.
But it was still annoying. It was still annoying. It was still annoying.
Yeah.
Okay, but I know I was not nearly experiencing what other people were. But it was really learning about the other aspects. It's where it was a moment where I started to redefine myself. And that is the part that we do not support, that our families are unaware because there's no visible signs of it. And that's where the conversation seems to be at.
Yeah. One of my big concerns, because it's just who I am, what I love, is, you hear about the decrease in like sexual health. And I don't want to experience that because I look at
I think that's one of the things that are underneath your control.
it's under your control.
Yeah.
You can control that.
I think so. I mean, like you might feel like, wait, this is a little bit different, but I think it's just also who you are,
Okay.
right?
I
But
think
you
that too.
might listen. There's things that we can do to manipulate and kind of get things back to where they should be. And so, and like I said, no one talks about that. They want to talk about hot flash, and I don't mean to minimize hot flash,
Right.
but it's there's so much more to this journey as a woman than what we discuss. There's something much more celestial and powerful. And I think I became more in tune with that, and realized how little we really support women in medicine and in health, um, because the real conversations are not had. Yeah.
We definitely gonna have to have Dr. Bridget back so we can talk about. I think it's important to talk about this women health because I mean honestly, women are the natural nurturers. We do interact with our children and helping shape and form them a lot. We're more hands-on. And so we need to educate ourselves about the transitions that we go through because our family goes through those transitions with us.
Mm-hmm.
And so we could be ahead of that or find out how we can work on, combating some of those issues that we're having that can be
Yeah.
helpful.
I think that's important because my family was completely clueless and did not know what to do
Yeah.
with me. And it was because I didn't, well, because everybody's so different. right? So I didn't know what I was going to experience. But knowing that there is something that you are going to go through, and people act like, oh, it's the death of womanhood. No, I feel more womanly. I feel more powerful. I
That's
feel
awesome.
more,
I love that.
comfortable in my own skin. But just like anything else, it's because I choose it. It's because I choose it.
Because you choose it.
Yeah.
Yes. You're responsible for how you feel, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Um, we talked about meditation and things like that. It was something I read, and it was telling me about when you, how do you feel about affirmations and uh, praying and meditating? I read something that said doing it out loud helps. Like waking up in the morning is a vibrational thing. If you say it out loud, it kind of sends out vibrations and you feel it better instead of just keeping it on the inside. Actually, saying something out, getting it out. Do you think that's important?
I do think that affirmations are incredibly important. I think saying it out to the universe, whether there's someone in your universe that hears it, or whether it's just you and however you interact spiritually, it creates accountability because you said it.
Yes.
Okay?
That's
And
important.
I feel that when it comes to just, there's a study out there, you may have heard about this a while back, where they had bottles of water that they said positive affirmations to, and then bottles of water said positive
Wow.
affirmations. And then they had bottles of water that they said you're ugly and you're useless and all this negativity. And then they looked at the water underneath microscopes. And the water, and I think they froze the water, and then they looked underneath the water underneath microscopes, and it was scattered. The negative affirmation water was scattered and disorganized, and the positive affirmation water formed beautiful symmetrical crystals. Consider the fact that 60% of our body is water. So even when we say negativity internally or externally, when we put things out there, when we put it out in the universe, we are making a more beautiful experience that we can achieve than when we allow that negative rumination in our head. And even though you're like, oh, no, it's not, no, it's something. So saying it out loud can combat that negativity.
Yes. You heard that. I say it a lot. Say it out loud. Hear yourself say it. Speak it. And one of the things I do for accountability, and because I do have a public platform, and I'm not saying everybody should do this, but when I really know that I need to do something or I want to move into something, I will put it out there. I am starting a new program, or I'm getting ready to lose this weight, and I kind of like put it out because now I'm going to be held accountable for what I said, and it's awesome. We all are a work in progress. But I find that I work just a tool that I use. But when I say it and put it out there, now I'm going to try to live up to what I said. So it
Right.
doesn't look like I'm just saying things and never live up to it. So that's just a tool that I suggest to people. But when you wake up in the morning, looking in that mirror, um, I learned from a class that I took about getting naked and just being bare and looking at yourself in the mirror in your pure form and just saying what you want for yourself and how you feel. And it's just a good way to start the day. You don't know what the day is going to bring, but at least you can start the day saying, I'm amazing, I feel beautiful. Today is going to be a great day.
Right.
If there are bumps in the road, I'll just jump over them or figure them out as I go. Because life is going to be just like today, even with the start of the show. We had a delay due to traffic and things like that. In that delay was a beautiful moment for myself because I was rushing around having an event tonight. I was doing all these things to get prepared for that tonight. But when they had a delay, I sat there and I was able to breathe. I did some breathing.
Let it
Yes, I was like, oh, well, you know what? This is good. It was raining really bad before you were coming. The sun came out. I even stood outside. Like, so you have, it's all about utilizing the bumps in the road to your good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and making it out to be a positive for yourself. So is there, someone asked, one of the questions that was written in, it was a gentleman, he said, is there any other form of healing medicine that is not currently legalized that you think would help the medical industry? Because he said, people talk about, um, cannabis was, THC, all of that was illegal, and now they're legalizing it. And he said, is there something else that out there that you were aware of that could be legalized that you think that would help our medical industry? And that was just a question. And I said, I would ask it, so I'm asked.
Yes.
Yes.
Um, psychedelics,
Hmm.
MDMA, which on the street it's like Molly or ecstasy or whatever.
Mhm.
Both of them have profound effects, medicinally, that we are completely missing the boat on. And if I'm not mistaken, like there is some of this is coming along. So it's
Okay.
not like, but right now it's not standardized. Cannabis medicinally outside of dispensaries in most states, but not all. It's not available, in traditional medicine yet. But I mean, I shouldn't say that. In some aspects it is, but not what it should be.
Right.
But psychedelics, we don't know. There's so much more we could do to help people, and we're not doing it. And MDMA there's great studies and experiences that people have been able to have that have struggled with PTSD and trauma. And, um, MDMA has been able to help that. We've seen that where ketamine can be the life-changing help with people with major depression. What we need to be able to understand is what is beneficial and what can be harmful, and make sure that we protect people so that they don't end up in bad situations. But I'm, I think we are really in a space of a renaissance in what medicine can look like. And a lot of the things that have been pushed aside will become more available, and that we are actually looking at new opportunities of healing.
Awesome. Great question. Great question. Now you have the answer. So we are 6 months into the year, guys.
Mm.
It went so fast.
Mm.
But half the year is gone. So this second half, I want to challenge everyone out there to start seeing a physician. I think we're doing too much right now of trying to self-medicate in all the different ways, whether it's alcohol, cannabis, or just TikToking stuff. And go and sit down. As you can see, we have physicians like Dr. Bridget in our community for our community. And I think that we need to tap into what they have, see a physician,
Yeah.
and start working on your health. Like you said, we have one life to live, and you got to live it to your fullest. And I'm all about. I can't wait to see this next chapter unfold. I got 50 years in, and this next 50 is gonna be amazing. And I can't wait. And I'm living.
100.
I'm excited about life, and you actually have sparked something in me as well, as far as we can be responsible for our care, and there are things that can help us.
Yeah.
I think we are in our community, we feel like it's a lost cause. No, we have people here that can help us. We just need to go see the right people, get the right fit for you. And I think that, checking in, I'll make sure Dr. Bridget tells you where to find you, but go see a physician, have the conversations, and really take the lead in your well-being. Like really go out, and I'm challenging everyone to go see a doctor within the next month. This month, make an appointment. Make an appointment, guys.
It doesn't take that long to just get online or make that phone call and just say, I need to see.
And there are resources. There are resources. So one of the things I guess people struggle with is the financial burden, how does Alliance help?
Right, so at Caroline's,
Care Alliance.
yes, we, take anything and everything as far as, insurance, and we take the uninsured as well.
Okay.
And we will help you find insurance if that's what's needed.
Oh, that is
Yeah,
great.
so we have an amazing, amazing staff that we're here to serve the community and we take that seriously. And so whether you go to carolines.org, you can make an appointment at 216-535-9100. Call. We are here. We look like you. We're excited to bring in new patients. We're doing more and more in the community. Caroline's has been in Cleveland for a long time. It has gone through different waves, and we have brand new C-suite, new providers, people that are really interested in helping.
And you said that you have an event here at Tower City for the.
Towers,
Do
right?
you have a date or?
28th, June 28th, I'm gonna say from like 10 to 1. We're doing all men's health. Women come to bring the kids as well, but we're having panel discussions. You'll meet a lot of our Black men, physicians and providers that can help. And then we're doing blood pressure, glucose screenings, testosterone, lung screenings. We'll talk to you about sexually transmitted diseases. And, we are open, we are non-judgmental, we want to help people and get you to a better place.
That's awesome. I'm definitely going to repost that and I'll make sure that I get that out as well on my platform to make sure that everybody knows it. And any events that she has going on, I'm going to make sure I stay
Yes,
connected
please.
and put that out to our community. I am so appreciative of the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
I really
I'm
am.
excited to move back to Cleveland.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
At the end of June. So right
This
now,
is a positive piece to my
Yes.
circle right here.
yeah, no, absolutely. I'm still commuting from Columbus, but I will move permanently back up here end of July. And so
Awesome.
that means I get a little bit more sleep,
Yes,
less
which
commuting.
is important.
Yeah, so no, I'm excited to be a part of this.
Awesome. I'm glad to have you. I appreciate you coming in today. So, and I have a little something for you. I have my phenomenal,
Yeah.
the best, I make the most amazing candles in the world.
Well, see, this is all a part of what we're talking about, right? Because when you have the scents that inspire you, it sends you to a better place.
And that's positive energy.
So, absolutely, that's beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I think I have, that's prosperity there.
Absolutely.
So I just wanted to do a token of my appreciation for coming in today. You guys reach out to Dr. Bridget. She gave you information. I'm going to post that. And I just want you to remember this today and going forward. Two main positive things in this world that we need is love and light.
Mhm.
And love heals so many things. And whether that's love from a significant other, love from your family, but mainly the love for yourself.
Yeah.
So find that love for yourself, and loving in yourself is actually taking care of yourself, getting more rest, seeking out a physician, and just taking care of yourself first, putting your mental health as a priority. So Real Talk with Reese is excited to be here. We'll be back next Saturday and going forward. We got some special projects coming up. And tonight, if you would like to come out and get some of these amazing candles that I have, remember they're all natural, so you can rub it on your body. But my candles make you feel good. The whole purpose of me even starting that came from me wanting to just put something out that makes you feel better. And it smells good, makes you feel good. And I will be at La Fume tonight. It is on Richmond Road. You guys can look it up, La Fume. I'll put it on my page. And I'll be there tonight for an event, and my candles will be there. And it's Ronnie's birthday party. Is a really nice cigar lounge that, I mean, when I say you feel good when you walk in the doors. It's upscale, professional environment, and I love it. So it's on Richmond Road. I'll be there tonight at 7 p.m. Next week, I will be with the Garden in the District, and I'll be celebrating Juneteenth, and I'll have that information. So there are a lot of Juneteenth activities going on. I will be there Thursday down here on St. Clair. with Garden in the district. And I have to say and give a shout out to the one and only Erica Urban that allows me to utilize that We Are Unique TV studio. You see my commercial. She's produced that, and she does so much in the community. And I'm very grateful and thankful to use her studio for Real Talk with Reese. And always tap in and use UD because we have so many events. And shout out for some more. She was hilarious last night. I went to see her at the improv. She was so funny, and I gotta find that outfit. Y'all know I'm all about the bling, and her outfit, she had a shirt on it, all this bling on it. Love it. So she's obsessed with bling. I'm gonna need you to make me this shirt. So anyway, tap in, take care of yourself, and remember that your feelings matter, you matter, and love yourself. Peace and love. Real Talk with Reese.